The King's Avatar, Chapter 1150. As blossoms fade and fly across the sky. Audio source, wushaworldaudiobook.com. Chapter 1150, As blossoms fade and fly across the sky. Translator, Nomyami. Editor, Nomyami. Fang Rui understood Zhou Guangyi better than Zhou Guangyi did of him. After succeeding twice, Fang Rui doubted that his trick would work a third time. He had decided that he would face Zhou Guangyi in a direct confrontation to determine victory. But did that mean that he would put his dirtiness aside? Of course not. In this situation, Fang Rui suddenly facing Zhou Guangyi righteously in a direct confrontation was a dirty move. With those two previous moves, the cool-down method had deeply taken root in Zhou Guangyi's mind. When Fang Rui started playing like a great hero, Zhou Guangyi couldn't help but feel apprehensive. He was unable to fully commit to a direct fight without any second thoughts. Under these circumstances, Cold Season's health had started with about half of Boundless Sea's health. In the end, Zhou Guangyi lost. It was an inevitable outcome. Even so, when Fang Rui clashed directly with Zhou Guangyi, it hadn't been an easy victory. When Cold Seasons died, Boundless Sea had less than half of his health left. As for Zhou Guangyi, it was only when Cold Seasons fell that he realized that in that last half, Fang Rui hadn't set up any traps. However, not setting up any traps became the greatest trap. He had once again fallen for Fang Rui's trickery. Yes. Whether it was in an official match or a private conversation, Zhou Guangyi hadn't lost to Fang Rui just once or twice. It was just like this match every single time. He would always be constantly reminding himself to be careful and be wary of Fang Rui's dirtiness, but in the end, he would always fall into Fang Rui's trap and lose miserably. It wasn't that he wasn't trying. His opponent was just too crafty. Zhou Guangyi noticed that after every loss to this guy, he would always have the same thought. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. When Zhou Guangyi came down from the stage, he was quite calm. He simply had too much experience losing to Fang Rui, so another loss was something he could cope with. If a rookie had been in his place and lost in this way, who knew how hard the rookie would take the loss? When Zhou Guangyi returned to his team's player area, his teammates consoled him. He could only smile and express that he was fine. Now, it was time for Team 100 Blossom's second player to come out, their team captain Yufeng. Yufeng had joined the league in Season 6. In terms of career length, he was a junior to Zhou Guangyi, but his current fame far surpassed Zhou Guangyi's. He was also Team 100 Blossom's captain and core player. Zhou Guangyi hesitated for a moment, but in the end, he still warned Yufeng. "Keep a steady heart. I understand." Yufeng chuckled and nodded his head. He recognized Fang Rui's fame as the master of playing dirty. As a player who joined in Season 6, he had only joined a year later than Fang Rui and Zhou Guangyi, so his competitive experience didn't lose out to those two. When Yufeng walked onto the stage, the crowd became even more fervent. This match would be a confrontation between two all-stars. The map was the same as before, Life-Seeking Path. Yufeng was currently using what was once the former #1 Berserker, Blossoming Chaos. After receiving Blossoming Chaos, Yufeng took back the title of #1 Berserker for his character. In recent times, Team Blue Rain had wanted to sell Brilliant Edge, the Berserker formerly used by Yufeng, in the winter. After Yufeng transferred, no one succeeded him, so Brilliant Edge had just been sitting there idly for half a season. However, the winter season transfer window happened to coincide with Glory's massive update, resulting in a drastic drop for the value of level 70 characters. But because of this drop in value, quite a few teams fought for it. In the end, Brilliant Edge had been sold to Team Heavenly Swords. However, Team Heavenly Sword was a unique team. Their team roster was untouchable and their characters couldn't be moved either. After Team Heavenly Swords took away Brilliant Edge, they immediately dismantled Brilliant Edge and gave the equipment to Lulan Slash. A rising Berserker character was thrown away just like that. Quite a few people cried at the loss. Sometimes, compared to players, the fate of these characters made people feel even more sorrowful and helpless than the players. The Berserker that Yufeng had used for many years had been thrown in the trash, but Yufeng wasn't affected much by it. He had fully adapted to his new Berserker. Blossoming Chaos soon reached the center of the map. To no one's surprise, Boundless Sea wasn't there. So you want to try the same trick? Yufeng thought to himself, but he didn't hesitate. Blossoming Chaos advanced forward and entered the complicated intertwining maze. Not long afterwards, Boundless Sea appeared, shooting out a chi bullet to provoke and probe Blossoming Chaos. Yufeng had Blossoming Chaos avoid it. He didn't panic. He simply used his normal running speed to dodge and move towards Boundless Sea. The tangled and complex map was filled with twists and turns, but Blossoming Chaos's thought process was very clear. He calmly followed behind Boundless Sea. Whenever a fork appeared, he never seemed to hesitate. It was evident that Yufeng wasn't a stranger to this map. He even had a decent tactical understanding of it. The two characters played hide-and-seek just like this. On the stadium's large screen, a bird's-eye view of the map was displayed, showing the two characters moving around. "He's trying to trap him," Yishu lifted his head and said, when he saw how the two were moving. "This punk seems to be quite familiar with this map." Wei Chen said, his understanding and decisions are on point. Fang Rui has been forced into a corner. Yishu said, "He's trapped." On the map, Boundless Sea's movements stopped. At this moment, he had reached the end of the map and could not continue moving forward. As for the other exits, Yufeng had sealed them. Yufeng had finally forced Fang Rui into a dead end. Who would have thought that someone like you would have researched this map? Fang Rui spoke in the chat as his character turned around. Blossoming Chaos already had his greatsword out, dragging behind him. Greatswords had the highest attack out of all swords, but great swords were also the heaviest weapons, yet many berserkers loved using them. Even though Blossoming Chaos had been remodeled when Yufeng came, this greatsword had been preserved and had been upgraded to level 75. Burial Blossoms. This was the greatsword's name. It didn't sound like a name befitting that of a greatsword, especially since this name gave quite an unsettling feeling towards Team 100 Blossoms. However, the community was brimming with youths. No one really thought too much about it. What's more, didn't the former owner, Sun Zheping, have to give up on this weapon because of what it forbade? Burial Blossoms. Very good. Very cruel. When this weapon was created, the name automatically generated for it had once cast quite a gloomy shadow on quite a few people in Team 100 Blossoms. However, the owner of the weapon took it up and then shattered this shadow into pieces. That year, just how tyrannical had Blossoming Chaos been, brandishing that greatsword Burial Blossoms. Nowadays, the forgotten Burial Blossoms once again saw the light of day last season. In the second half of the season, it had been upgraded to level 75. It was now helping Team 100 Blossoms rise to glory again. Burial Blossoms was lifted above Blossoming Chaos's head. WuxaWorldAudio.com. Yufeng clearly didn't plan on chatting with Fang Rui. He completely ignored Fang Rui's words. Yufeng felt like his resistance towards trash talk was quite high. Don't forget, he had come from Team Blue Rain. The Alliance's most terrifying trash talker had been his teammate, Collapsing Mountain. It was the most common move used by berserkers to initiate a fight. It was evident just how calm he was right now. As for Fang Rui, he didn't appear to be panicked after being forced into a dead end by a berserker. He observed the momentum of collapsing mountain and leaped backwards. Then, he pushed his palms and a chi bullet shot towards Blossoming Chaos's face. Anyone who watched Fang Rui's fight with Zhou Guangyi would know that the purpose of this chi bullet wasn't to injure the opponent, but to block the opponent's line of sight. The theory was no different from the knight's shield-blind strategy. The shield-blind strategy was more precise and more difficult to figure out the timing though. This sort of trick wasn't going to work on Yufeng though. Blossoming Chaos stepped to the side and the chi bullet flew past him. He pulled on his greatsword and with a backwards slash the enormous sword frame hacked towards Boundless Sea. Fang Rui immediately activated Chi Flowing Cloud. Boundless Sea's movement speed increased and he dodged the sword, utilizing this opportunity to move past Blossoming Chaos. Blossoming Chaos immediately switched attacks. His other hand grasped towards the nearing Boundless Sea. It was the Berserker's soul-devouring Crimson Grip. This grab skill was quite tyrannical. The blood from the hand would form a domain. The hand didn't need to directly grab the body. As long as the target was within a certain range, the target would immediately be sucked in. Sure enough, Fang Rui didn't dare let Boundless Sea keep moving forward. The greatsword Burial Blossoms swung to the side, forcing Boundless Sea to roll to the side. The greatsword Burial Blossoms chased after him. The soul-devouring Crimson Grip left hand gripped back onto the greatsword hilt and struck out with a wild blood strike. This chain of skills was practically instinctive to Yufeng. As for Fang Rui, facing these fast-paced and precise mix-ups, his unfamiliarity with Chi Masters was forced out. For every variation, Fang Rui would always be slightly slow. After several blows, his rhythm lagged a beat behind. Finally, Blossoming Chaos's attack was unable to be dodged. A scene too appalling to look at. Ye Zhu shut his eyes. He's still in the middle of changing classes. Facing a top-tier place is simply too difficult for him, Wei Chen remarked. This wild blood strike was a solid strike. And it just so happened that this attack triggered Burial Blossom's 6% chance effect. Swordlight transformed into innumerable flower petals that danced in the air. Boundless Sea should have originally been sent flying by the wild blood strike, but he had unexpectedly been stopped and swept up along with these flower petals in the air. It was a forced knockup, which had a 6% chance of triggering when Burial Blossoms hit a target. Blossoms fade and fly. And when the enemy was in the air, any pro player would have numerous combos in mind to execute. Launching an enemy into the air was never a disadvantage for them. The only ones with a headache would be the ones knocked into the air. End chapter.